quickly to finish then the sort of next 5 minutes or so, a look ahead to Crystal Palace next week. Steve, look, with everything that's going on in the Premier League, we quite often talk about a club like Saints. The cup is realistically only ever going to be our opportunity to win something. But given the position in the Premier League, does it feel like that's now a bit of a distraction? Or is it a chance to go up there and, again, try and get a win that then builds confidence?
Both. It's at the end of the day, if we win, then everyone says, "Oh, it's a great springboard for us, and we can take that into the league." If we lose, then it's like, well, that was kind of just a distraction. It's at least out of the way and concentrate on the league. But it's I mean, Palace look proper up and down at the moment.
Jekyll
They were
Hyde,
by all accounts, they were absolutely atrocious against Fulham on Boxing Day. Obviously had 2 men sent off, and then went down to Bournemouth, and took advantage of Bournemouth being absolutely pathetic by all accounts. I think that was actually the word that Gary O'Neill said for the goals they conceded. So yeah, you never quite know what Palace are going to throw out. You don't know what their attitude is going to be like towards the game. They've had some weird cup performances in recent years as well, where they've been dumped out by lower league opposition. I think Hartlepool went there and beat them a year or two back. So yeah, it's one of those. I think realistically, you've got to put out pretty much your strongest team. But I guess there's an eye on Man City the following midweek, where realistically you're having to put your strongest team out there to avoid an absolute spanking. So yeah, it's a difficult one to manage with these games coming sort of back to back like that. Just crap draws for us, really.
I was going to say, it's football's a game of ups and downs, isn't it? It's pretty easy to work out which side of the fence we're on at the moment, with Man City just around the corner. But Glen, Selhurst Park, we've had some pretty good wins there over the last years. We've had some pretty frustrating losses. We've had some sort of hard-fought draws. It's one of those fixtures that does tend to go always.
Yeah, as Steve said, they're massively up and down. And we said exactly the same thing before we played there in the league. And we weren't great in that game, lost 1-0. And that's what I see happening again, to be honest, in this cup game. It was interesting seeing them get the result against Bournemouth and the comments that got made afterwards. It'll be interesting to see out of us and Bournemouth who sacks their new manager first. Because I think I can't see, from what I've seen from Mr. Foley at Bournemouth, I can't see them hanging around too long if Gary O'Neill probably doesn't win in his next 3 games.
But you'd have thought he'd have had input into the signing, into the appointment, given that his takeover has been in the pipeline for months.
Yeah, but he won't care. Just what did he say? What was his first line? I'm a dictator. So he's going to do what he wants, basically, with no consequence. So, but yeah. Anyway, don't care about Bournemouth. But back to Palace. It's a game that always seems to be quite tight, and we try and negate their strengths. Zaha obviously being the biggest. I know Vieira's been getting a lot of stick recently because he's been playing with Jordan Ayew, I think, as a striker who never scores. We know about that.
Against us.
He scores against us. So, yeah, it will be interesting to see how Palace approach the game. But, Palace are heading for a kind of nothing season where they just loaf around in mid-table. They're not going to go down. So I think Palace will go quite strong in this game, and it'll be a tough one. And we'll keep it relatively tight, but I can't see us getting anything from the game, to be honest.
Fair enough. I can see Mark Kenyon here said 1-0 for us versus Forest, 2-1 for us against Palace. Just trying to stay as positive as I can. That's what we need, Mark. Alfie, let's end with you just before we get to your. We'll get Steve's prediction as well, because Glen's given his 1-0 loss. I've gone 2-0 loss because I'm feeling pretty down at the moment. But how do you see it going, Alfie? Do you feel like this is the right time to maybe get a step away from the league and almost relax a little bit more with a cup game, or do you feel like it just adds to the tension?
Well, I don't think there'll be any relaxing involved, unfortunately, because they've still got to play 2 good teams in Palace, and then, like you say, City immediately. So I don't think it's going to be a break for the players or anything like that. But Steve was sort of talking about how it's how you view it if you lose and how you view it if you win. I do think that I don't really ever agree with the whole good thing we're out of the cup. it's one less distraction. I think the only time that ever is really relevant is when it's Europa League or Europa Conference League, and it's a real war of attrition playing every Thursday in Azerbaijan and whatnot. That's when it really takes a toll. I don't think that it matters playing an extra cup game. What I think it is if you do beat Palace, it is a massive positive. And how many games have Southampton won this season? I should know off the top of my head, but I don't.
Not many.
Yeah, and you take anything you can get, can't you? So you obviously want to see a positive result, and if they can go through in the cup, then happy days. But I agree with almost every word that Glen said. I think it will be close. It'll be tight. We'll keep it tight. Someone will keep it tight, but they will win, and that's the end of that cup run. And then look forward to midweek and win that cup run as well.
You guys can enjoy previewing that next week without me, the Man City game. So what are you going for in terms of a prediction for the Palace game then, Alfie?
Yeah, I didn't think about it at all, but I'm going to say 1-0 Palace.
1-0 Palace. All right. I can see Jacob on WhatsApp's just gone for a 3-2 win. Sounds like a cup classic for Saints there, so that's good at Palace. Steve, let's end with you then. What do you reckon for the Palace game in terms of score?
I'll go for the result that that literally nobody wants from either side. 1-0.
Oh, okay.
Replay.
Yeah.